Welcome to another episode of Outdoorsey Adventures. Today we've made Langtry, Texas, home of Judge Roy Bean, Law West of the Pecos. I'm standing in the original Jersey Lily Saloon at the original bar that Judge Roy Bean and everyone stood at. This is the original building that he his court in. Billiard hall. In this building, Judge Roy Bean and his visitors played for fun and profit. The judge died in this room on March 16th, 1903. He is buried in Del Rio. There's Roy Bean's pet bear. Somebody sitting in this little chair drinking rock gut whiskey. Fire going in that fireplace.
The original Jersey Lily. You're now in the original Jersey Lily Saloon on this exact site. And in this very building, Judge Roy Bean dispensed hard liquor and hard justice.
The Trans-Pecos region of Texas is one of the last parts of the state to be settled. When the Transcontinental Railroad was built in 1882, Langtry became a bustling railroad and ranching hub in desperate need of law enforcement. Texas Ranger Captain referred to Langtry as the worst collection of roughs, gamblers, robbers, and pickpockets collected here that I ever saw. The call for law and order led to the appointment of saloon keeper Judge Roy Bean, who delivered his own brand of frontier justice for the next 2 decades as the Law West of the Pecos. Bean built his saloon in the shadow of a train depot and named it after English actress Lily Langtry, who was born on the Isle of Jersey. When the original building burned down in 1896, Bean built a smaller saloon in the same spot. Armed with a rarely consulted copy of the 1879 revised statutes of Texas. Bean held court on the front porch of the saloon and dispensed hard liquor and harsh justice, often pausing trials for a round of drinks. Though he often made up his own laws, when it suited him, passed judgment on criminals according to his own interpretation of the facts. Locals credited Bean with bringing law to the area and clean up the violent crime.
Well, the Pecos River High Bridge. This bridge was built in 1954. It's 1,310 feet long, and it's 273 feet above the river. Pretty impressive. The Pecos River goes on into the Rio Grande about 60 miles from here, winding down to the south.
Well, I've made it to Seminole Canyon State Park. It's pretty windy here, so it'll be hard to get any good footage. I'm in site number 22. Pretty good site. Just, pretty wide open and barren right here. Not much to look at. But the canyon is supposed to be spectacular, so we're gonna go look at the canyon in the morning and do the tour. So that should be fun. Till then, see you in the morning. Well, I'm at Seminole Canyon State Park, doing the bird blind trail. It's a very nice asphalt type trail, very easy to walk. Oh, it's windy and cold. Last night I camped here in campsite number 21, or 22, I'm sorry. And the wind blew all night long. Just couldn't do any footage. It was just horrible, the wind. Got a tour coming up at 10 o'clock. I'm gonna take it. And this is what's famous for this state park, is the Indian paintings on the wall of this cave here. And this tour takes you down into the cave and shows you the stuff. Very famous. So they're deteriorating, and I'm sure I'll go more into that when we get over there. But what everybody says, they're deteriorating, and it won't be long and you won't be able to see them at all. So I really want to get a chance to look at them today. See what it looks like. This place is rugged. This is every bit as rugged as Big Bend Ranch. It's desert, We're right on the border. Matter of fact, the Rio Grande is just right over there. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go do those trails down to the Rio Grande outlook. I planned to do it yesterday when I got here, but like I said, the wind was just so horrible. So, nice little nature trail though, nice and windy, and we're bird blind. About like I expected, with the wind and the cold. I didn't expect to see any birds here, but hey, we got to look at it. And like I said, killing time before the tour starts. It's chilly. It's in the 30s, which is a heat wave compared to Big Bend Ranch. That was a cold time. Go out and take a look at the museum, walk through it, warm up before the tour. Well, I'm here at the visitor center now. We're going to go in here and look at the museum and sign up for the tour at Seminole Canyon State Park and Historic area. Missed that earlier.
This museum's pretty cool. This is the, kind of waiting around on the tour to go, but, these, it's a good way to see the cape at the petroglyphs because they're fading so bad on the, cave walls that you can hardly see them anymore. But here in the museum, you can really get an idea what they look like.
Thank you guys so much for coming out, and so my tour guides, like, if you guys see something important that I have failed to talk about, I'll tell everybody. I'm kind of absent-minded. I think y'all may have overheard me saying this. I'll kind of go on this tangent and may not get back to what I was talking about to begin with. So these guys may be able to help rein me in and keep us on track a little bit. The hardest thing about these tours is there's about 6 hours worth of information I want to dump on you, and I can't do that in an hour and a half tour. We're going about a mile. The shelter we're visiting, Fayetteville Shelter, is right kind of underneath this cliff right here. So we're going to kind of go down towards that little shade shelter, go down some stairs, and come back around. It's about a mile-ish round trip, 500-ish vertical feet. Everybody has good shoes. Every now and then somebody tries to do this in flip-flops or high heels, and we suggest you try it again at different. But so that's all good. There are some puddles in the floor of the canyon. The floor of the canyon is kind of natural, smooth bedrock, but there are potholes and things, and it's easy to, if you've got a telephoto lens, you're trying to get a picture of a bird or something, not watch where you're putting your feet, and that's usually how I see people get themselves in trouble. Is either that, or I mentioned the puddles. Everywhere there's water, there's algae growing in it, and that algae is slick. And so if you step in a wet spot, expect your footing to go and be pleasantly surprised if it doesn't. So just expect the wet spots. Otherwise, mandatory reminder, this is a park, so all the artifacts and critters and everything are protected. Please don't take anything home with you except for memories. Any little holes in the rocks are probably the home of a small woodland creature who would not appreciate the intrusion if you stick a hand or foot in there. So keep that in mind. Going back to what I said earlier about most things here having thorns or biting or stinging. There's very strong fibers in there. Those fibers are strong enough you can make bowstrings. You can make string for traps and snares and nets. And if you leave that needle attached to the fibers, you have a needle and thread that's ready to go. It's in your best interest to be light on your feet and mobile, and they probably picked up and moved camp every few days, probably at least once a week, maybe twice a week, picking up and moving. There's just not enough food on the landscape to feed a large group. Speaking of things being eaten, it's a porcupine eating the bark off of that ocotillo. So things to eat. How many of y'all have eaten nopales? Prickly pear. Okay, there we go. A little nopalitos with your eggs. What about the tunas, the red fruit on the prickly pear? Get some prickly pear jam. Okay, excellent. So that's one. How about make things a little bit more interesting? These plants are spiky in addition to spiky. What about like mezcal, tequila, or sotol? Okay, so this is a sotol plant. Behind us over there is a lechuguilla plant. These are both in the agave family. Now, the ancient people here were not distilling alcohol and making tequila, but off all the leaves. And once the leaves are trimmed off, you've got this round thing with these scars where the leaves were, and they call it a piña, so it looks like a pineapple. Because the overhead pressure from all the water. questions about real people and how they lived, things they've left behind, artifacts. Every researcher is going to ask their own questions in their own way based on their background and their personal interests. And I will say that's one of the things that there's a lot. The other thing, I didn't mention this, but what that's doing too is the water in those leaves is adding moisture, because when you're cooking these plants, you're actually steaming them. And so if you don't have that source of moisture, it's a
Well, that was the hike down into the canyon and looking at the rock art. Very worth it. Whew. Not a hard trail to walk, but as you can tell by my breath, you're coming up out of it. It's like going up several flights of stairs. Beautiful place.